today's news, House of Assembly members sworn in, Speaker and Deputy appointed, a technical working group to be established on beneficial ownership transparency, but the order in council was not discussed at joint ministerial council meetings. Advisor gearing up for Swim and Sup, the Sound 2023. Viewers, these and more stories when 284 News return.
Yo, everything good, Dad?
Aye. This thing got me one way, Daddy.
What do you mean?
Ever since I hook up with this thing, can't eat, I can't sleep. This is the first thing I touch when I reach home.
What you really? Hey, this ain't like you, know.
Dad, this thing got me staying home. Keeping out of trouble me.
Wow. What your name is?
Shit. I talking about my CCT life.
Don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Come to CCT today and sign up for CCT Live to access over 80 channels. CCT Live. Bring it home.
1 month free trial turn into 5. 5 months turn into, well, you know I huff. I watching ball. I been watching football. Dad, Nickelodeon, Paw Patrol. I am hooked. Hook, I tell you.
Welcome viewers to the Thursday, May 18th edition of 284 News. I am Kamal Haynes, bringing you the latest out of the British Virgin Islands. While leading to today's news, earlier today, residents and well-wishers from across the Virgin Islands gathered for the swearing-in of the 13 members of the 5th House of Assembly of the Virgin Islands. But the first order of business was the appointment of the Speaker of the House of Assembly and Deputy Speaker, Mrs. Corinne George Massicott, who spent just 9 months as the former Speaker, was appointed and returned as Speaker.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I rise to nominate Mrs. Corinne George Massicott as Speaker. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Madam Clerk, I rise to second the motion.
In accordance with Standing Order Number 4 of the Standing Orders of the House of Assembly of the Virgin Islands, I declare Corinne George Massicott elected as Speaker, and I now call upon the Premier to move a motion that Corinne George Massicott do take the chair as Speaker of the House of Assembly.
Madam Clerk, I rise to move a motion that Mrs. Corinne George Massicott take the chair as Speaker.
Madam Clerk, I rise to second that motion.
Thank you, Premier. Thank you, Deputy Premier. And thank you, Leader of the Opposition.
Well, she then took her oath of office.
I, Corinne George Massicott, do swear that I will well and truly serve His Majesty King Charles III and the people of the Virgin Islands in the office of Speaker, so help me God. I, Corinne George Massicott, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III, his heirs and successors, according to law. So help me God.
When it came to the appointment of the Deputy Speaker, the initial nominee of Honorable Luz Hodge-Smith from Premier Dr. the Honorable Natalia Wheatley saw some controversy, which led to 2 recesses. Well, based on the Constitution of the Virgin Islands, a sitting member holding a ministry cannot hold the office of Deputy Speaker. Nevertheless, Premier Wheatley tried to have Honorable Hodge-Smith nominated, a decision which was later retracted.
Madam Speaker, I rise to nominate for the post of Deputy Speaker, Honorable Luz Hodge-Smith.
Thank you.
Madam Speaker, I rise to second that motion.
Thank you.
Madam Speaker, 69(3) of the Constitution says anyone who holds a ministerial position cannot be Deputy Speaker. I don't know if something else has happened since you announced your ministers.
Well, at this time, Leader of the Opposition, I'll give you the option to state if you wish to nominate someone as well.
Madam Speaker, I wish to nominate Honorable Stacey Mater.
Thank you.
Madam Speaker, I rise to second the motion.
Thank you. Yes.
Honorable Stacey Mater was then nominated by the Leader of the Opposition, and that nomination was seconded and accepted, allowing Mater to be sworn in as the Deputy Speaker.
While I did have my ruling, I will allow the Premier to rise at this time.
Madam Speaker, upon review, it is indeed correct that section 69(5) applies as junior ministers as ministers in the 2015 amendment to the Constitution. We therefore withdraw our nominee, Honorable Lucille Smith, and will support the nominee, Honorable Stacey Mater.
Thank you.
Well, it is a unique situation which makes way for a member of the opposition to sit as Deputy Speaker, but honorable members were all sworn in and given an opportunity to greet the public and deliver remarks.
In accordance with Standing Order number 5 of the Standing Orders of this Honorable House, I now declare Honorable Stacey Mater as Deputy Speaker.
Madam Speaker, I accept.
The United Kingdom and the overseas territories are set to establish a technical working group on beneficial ownership transparency. But the announcement came from Deputy Premier and Minister for Financial Services, Honorable Lorna Smith OBE, during a recent press conference, where she explained that the decision was made following discussions at the recently concluded Joint Ministerial Council meetings in London, where the technical working group is expected to discuss topical issues pertaining to the implementation of publicly accessible registers of company beneficial ownership and to ensure that measures are in place to protect the privacy rights of companies. But these discussions, she said, must occur very quickly in the interest of time.
I am happy to announce that we agreed that it would be prudent for the overseas territories and the United Kingdom to establish a technical working group on beneficial ownership transparency. This group will share expertise and discuss issues surrounding the implementation of publicly accessible registers of company beneficial ownership, ensuring the necessary safeguards to protect privacy rights. I look forward to the BVI's active participation in the group and its deliberations, and in the announced ministerial level dialogue focused on combating illicit finance, for which the BVI has offered to host the inaugural meeting later this year.
The BVI's plans of implementing a publicly accessible register of beneficial ownership by 2023 have lagged behind, with developments infringing on the pledge made by former Premier Andrew Foy to have the system implemented by the end of the year.
As Her Majesty's government is well aware, in September of 2020, the then Premier pledged that the BVI would work collaboratively with Her Majesty's government towards a publicly accessible register of beneficial ownership for companies, aligning with international standards and best practices, and at least as implemented by EU member states by 2023, which is the end of this year, in accordance with the EU 5th Anti-Money Laundering Directive. However, as you know, these developments have not transpired, and the European courts have raised significant and relevant hurdles to implementing unrestricted access to registers.
The request from the United Kingdom to have a publicly accessible register of beneficial ownership implemented in the BVI and other overseas territories persists despite opposing views from international standard setters within the industry. In November 2022, the European Union Court of Justice ruled that registers containing the personal information of the owners of a company that was openly available to the general public are an infringement of the fundamental rights of privacy and personal data protection. Honorable Smith addressed the matter.
Despite the evidence from international standard setters, some in the UK still view the lack of public registers of beneficial ownership as a deficiency that needs addressing among overseas territories. Explicit recognition was given to the BVIs upholding the highest international financial standards. The importance of continued cooperation between the OTs and the UK was stressed, especially through technical forums on anti-money laundering, sanctions enforcement, counter-terrorist financing, and foreign bribery, and I will return to those points a little later on. We utilized the meetings, as the Premier said, to illustrate our consistent stance in the BVI on publicly accessible registers of beneficial ownership.
Well, up next, the Order in Council was not discussed at the JMC meetings, and VISAR gearing up for the Swim and Sup the Sound 2023. But these are more stories after a word from our sponsors.
Looks like Johnny's ex-girlfriend finally found my car.
You've got CG. You're fine. I'll never forget the year those monkeys stole my car. They drove it over a cliff, burned the seats, and carved the words pineapple banana smoothie into all the doors. And that was after they used it for the bank heist. I don't blame them. It's their favorite smoothie, and I refuse to share the recipe.
No deductible for theft, malicious damage, and more. CG Insurance. Good like that.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got here. My name is Kamal Haynes. Most of you know me from 284 News, but now you get to see me in a different light on my very own show called Health is Wealth. We have Joel Turnbull.
I don't want you to arch your back when you're pulling down.
Milton McLean.
First of all, right, your footwork.
Stephen Payne.
That was a 9 out of 10. I know you got the service down pat.
Steve Augustine.
You did a pretty hard workout today, so perhaps...
And as you can see, it's actually
you're feeling it.
Alonzo Boynes.
Taekwondo.
Adam Murrows.
I'll speak as if you're an absolute beginner.
I am an absolute beginner.
You are an absolute beginner.
And Seth Graham.
It bites.
It will bite.
Get your water, get your fruits and veggies, and experience a wealth of knowledge about getting healthy.
There goes my new car. Guess I'm back on my bike.
Your bike? CG offers new car replacement. Remember my monster truck days? Well, one night I attempted a 50-foot pogo double backflip. I landed it and went to karaoke. It wasn't until afterward that my car got hit by that fisherman. He gave me some great mahi-mahi though. Anyway, they paid fast and got me in a new car. Now call a cab. I want you to meet my alpaca guy.
New car replacement for the first year of ownership. CG Insurance. Good like that.
Our Premier Doctor, the Honorable Natalia Wheatley, has revealed that discussions relating to the removal of the Order in Council, which remains intact over the territory, did not occur during the recently concluded Joint Ministerial Council meetings in London. Our Premier Wheatley explained why the matter was not brought to the forefront of discussions.
Speak specifically about the removal of the Order in Council because, of course, the OT Minister has made it clear from before that they wanted to see some more progress on implementation of COI reforms. And of course, we have committed to continued progress on reforms, and we are hopeful that the Order in Council will be lifted soon because, of course, as we have stated before, we are committed to the reform process. We're committed to good governance, transparency, accountability, adherence to the rule of law, And certainly, we also believe very much in democracy and allowing the people of the Virgin Islands to participate in the reform process. And that's the way that we think it should happen in a democratic society.
Premier Wheatley also reaffirmed his commitment to implementing the COI report recommendations.
We will continue to work hard in terms of improving our governance, and we'll also continue to engage our partners in the United Kingdom and really let them know that we are committed to the process and the order in council is not necessary.
Well, VISAR will be hosting the annual fundraiser Swim and Sup the Sound, which starts at the Bitter End Yacht Club, ending at the Leverett's Bay, and includes a half-mile, 1 mile, and 2 mile swim and a 2.5 mile sup course. But this will mark the first time since Hurricane Irma that the 2 mile and sup race will be able to start from the beach at the Bitter End Yacht Club. But the fundraiser has been going on for over 12 years and is one of the non-profit's core events of the season. In 2020, due to COVID-19, the race was held virtually with over 145 people participating from 6 different countries, and in 2021 was able to be held in person and was sold out. For the majority of the VISAR's $250,000 yearly operating budget, it is funded through the $2 per person program, which is collected by the local charter companies. But this year, VISAR is also fundraising to replace their search and rescue vessel, Spirit of Tortola. VISAR is relying heavily on the funds raised at Swim and Sup the Sound to help towards these endeavors. A family fun day at no extra cost. Activities include beach and pool games, arts and craft, and slime making. For those that prefer to spend a day on land, they can do so by joining the cheer squad for a fee, which includes ferry transportation and lunch. Well, up next, $3 million plus plastic bottles and $2 million in aluminium cans recycled and ready for export by Green VI. An HLSCC Spring Concert takes center stage. But these stories when 284 News return.
When you're in need of air conditioning, installation, repairs, or replacement services, Markinson Air Conditioning and Refrigeration has the professional technicians, equipment, parts, and ACs to get the job done right. Markinson Air Conditioning and Refrigeration carries top brands like Daikin, Aircon, Mitsubishi, and more. We're open Monday to Saturday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Located in Fish Bay. Telephone 340-4114 or 343-9511. Markinson Air Conditioning and Refrigeration, providing exceptional services to the British Virgin Islands since 2015.
Father Jesus, that line here long like church service.
Alright, do enjoy the rest of the day. Next customer line, please. Wait, hold on a second.
Yes, Sonny boy, come, yes, son.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sonny boy, over there. You must have cut front of people.
It's okay, I'll take care of it.
What? No man to take care of me.
How may I assist you?
Yes.
You want top of power?
You want top of power?
Join the prepaid party with CCT and enjoy more affordable data plans, more top-up promotions, more savings with hero bundles, and more value for your money each and every Tuesday with Top Up Turn Up Tuesday. Visit a CCT store today or anywhere CCT Top Up is sold and top up your phone.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You want top of power?
Welcome back, viewers. More than 3 million plastic bottles and approximately 2 million aluminium cans have already been recycled and processed through the Green VI's Eco Park in Parakeeta Bay to be exported abroad. A Green VI's Deputy Director, Sarah Penny, provided an update to 284 Media recently, where she spoke about the progress made in the We Recycle program, which is a joint collaboration with the Department of Waste Management and Green VI.
And right now, in terms of statistics, what we can say is that the public wants this, wants to participate, but there's still a lot of room to grow. When you pass the field, which I know you see on your way here to our eco park, what you're looking at down there is almost 3 million plastic water bottles that are ready to go somewhere where they can be managed or recycled ethically. And then you're also seeing almost 1.9 million aluminum cans that are ready to go. I want to take a time though to say that the model that the BVI is creating is about finding ways to use those things in the territory rather than sending them out, because it costs so much. We all know the cost of living went up dramatically last year and shipping almost doubled. So there's no way for the country to viably keep sending things out to be recycled. Instead, we want to inspire everyone, BVI lenders especially, to start businesses that use a material, you know, take the plastic and turn it into something. And that's what the government of the Virgin Islands and Green VI together are trying to foster.
Well, Mrs. Penny also provided details on where the items will be exported once ready for shipment.
We're really proud that what we've been able to do on this journey is find multiple places, but we've settled on a organization, a company in Canada called Ice River Springs, and it's a family-run operation where they'll take those bottles and turn them back into bottles. We've been able to visit it physically to know that they're actually doing what they say they're going to do. Their site, their staff are, you know, everyone's treated well, it's run properly, and they provide a lot of data. They're also phenomenal because they've started assuming the risk that, you know, for if the material just isn't, you know, maybe it doesn't weigh as much as they thought it would, or the shipping costs are a lot higher than was expected, they're absorbing that risk because they recognize how hard it is for small island nations like ours to manage the waste that's created.
With the project being deemed a success to date, Penny believes the model is one that can be used as a blueprint by other Caribbean countries.
There's so much just to get excited about. I mean, first off, it's to give a shout out to everyone that participates in the program. We're so proud that we're starting to really create a model that other Caribbean countries can follow and other remote areas where government and not-for-profits as well as the private sector work together to try to find better solutions so that we can move away from burning. But it also takes a community, right? And so right now, just in the course of this program so far, which on Tortola has only been since 2019, we're right now at the equivalent of almost 9 million plastic bottles, and that's just in plastics because the program also collects glass and aluminum cans. And when we think about plastics, we always try to help people remember that it's a petroleum product. It's really not a healthy material to use. There's no way to get it entirely out of your life, but it's to remember that hierarchy of reduce, reuse, recycle.
The Deputy Director also spoke on pending legislation that will seek to strengthen recycling in the territory once passed. One such legislation is the Container Deposit Bill, which he said will add value to certain recyclable items.
The question that we wish we had an easy answer to. I think we all know that our country's going through some relatively challenging times, but what there is that people need to sort of ask and push forward is what's called the Container Deposit Bill. And what that will mean is that every container, drink container in particular, that comes into the territory, you pay a deposit when it comes in, but when you bring that bottle or that can back to a recycling drop-off center, which will be all over the territory, you get that deposit back. And I think we all know that once that bottle has a money value to it, everyone, even people that maybe would litter otherwise, will be more conscious with what they do. So that's one piece. And then the other piece is the waste management strategy and legislation overall, which will really help to cut down on the dumping issues and also how much people waste and hopefully promote people thinking differently. So it's hopefully going to have tipping fees for loads of what we see, trucks going all the time and dumping on the landfill, and ways for the funding mechanisms so that our waste management system actually has the funding that it needs to do what it needs to do.
Wonderful interview can be found on 284media.com or on 284media's Facebook page. Well, moving on to our final story, where this Saturday, May 20th, the HLSCC Stout Community College will be hosting their annual Spring Concert featuring a number of acts. Earlier today, Dr. Alison Flats Archer, director of the Wood Wine Ensemble, and Patricia Archibald Bowers, director of the college's chorale, spoke with our Ron Grant about the upcoming fundraiser.
Well, this year the theme is from classical to soca or to calypso, and everything in between. So we have 8 pieces, and we go from classical, we go from folk, we go from religious, all the way down to soca. And we're really excited because we have Hashim Lewis, who has been a member of the chorale for years, and he actually entered the international soca competition a couple years ago, and he was a finalist.
Beautiful.
So he's a soloist on Saturday, and don't miss it. You gotta be there.
Alongside Alison, of course. Woodwind, you've been doing this for quite some time. What can we expect?
Well, first I want to say that sounds super exciting, Pat.
It does.
I'm really excited to see that performance. Well, the Woodwind Ensemble, which we actually have 2 string members in the group. It's a relatively small group. It's a chamber group, and we will also be starting with a classical, moving right into a jazz item. We'll be performing 4 items, ending with our jazz piece. Won't give you the names because we're expecting you to come and share in the joy of the performers.
Well, Dr. Flats Archer also spoke about the importance of the music program and the musical fraternity here in the BVI.
I think community, especially with these groups, is extremely important. The students tend to filter from the Elmore Stout High School college, well, the Elmore Stout group into the college. And a lot of the students then leave to go to universities, and then they come back and they want to still continue playing. So it's, it's important. And it's also an outlet, a way of expressing themselves, especially with the dance group as well that's new. And I believe their performance is also going to be extremely exciting. The last time they performed, they were hanging from the ceiling. So that I'm looking forward to as well. The jazz ensemble is always fantastic. They always end the program, and they usually have some really exciting pieces directed by Andre Brathwaite. So looking forward to that as well. I think with even the directors within the group, we tend to support, and we tend to be excited about looking at what each person has organized. So I'm looking forward to that, as I'm sure Pat is as well.
In regards to the purchasing of tickets, Archibald Bowers encouraged persons to get their tickets as they are selling really quickly.
Okay, so the tickets are $25 for adults and $15 for students. Now, we know that most of the elementary students wouldn't have an ID, so if they're 12 and under, it's $15. If you go to college anywhere or in the BVI and you have an ID, then you will be able to pay the $15. And a warning, the tickets are selling. So if you need your tickets, I'd say headway to the college and purchase them as soon as possible, because my 122 are all gone.
Wow.
Well, she also took the time to encourage the community to come out and enjoy the production.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, grandparents, friends, aunts and uncles, if you miss it, you will miss it. I'm telling you, this one is going to be good. You will leave the college humming for days after it takes place. So see you, be early, get your tickets, and we're going to have a good time on Saturday.
Well, that's it for today's news roundup. Be sure to follow us for daily news updates at 284media.com. And like us on Facebook at 284media and 284BVI on Instagram and Twitter. I'm Kamal Haynes, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Have a safe and enjoyable evening. Bye-bye.
Rashford made it. Manchester United have come from behind to lead.
At home or on the go, watch CCT Live. Download our app and carry your favorite TV shows, news, or live sports anywhere you go. Visit cctbvi.com/live, select your package, and tune in.